Hey, good afternoon. This is Trail from Crossing the Trail, and I wanted to talk to you briefly today um, about water baptism. Now, this doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but in many circles, when you associate water baptism with salvation, the hair on the back of their neck goes up and the little antennas start to beep, and they're like, no, baptism's not a part of salvation. Well, there is a place in the Bible that says that baptism does save you. Where's that? Glad you asked. 1 Peter chapter 3, starting in verse 20, I'll read, and I'll post this below where you hit the like button and where you subscribe and hit the little bell so you see all my videos. Hint, hint. 1 Peter 3, starting around verse 20, says that Noah, during the building of the ark, in which a few persons, 8 in all, were saved through water. This prefigured baptism, which saves you now. It is not a removal of dirt from the body, but an appeal to God for a clear conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And people will go through all sorts of gyrations and stuff to try and explain that that phrase, baptism now saves you, doesn't mean that baptism saves you. Anyway, here's the first error that's taught about that. The baptism talked about in the passage isn't water baptism because it says not a removal of dirt from the body. Like this somehow means that water's not involved. Actually, the opposite's true. There's no reason for this clarification if St. Peter's not talking about water baptism. Why would he even bring it up? His point is not to eliminate water from the equation, but to emphasize that the faith that is present means the cleansing happens on the inside, not just on the outside. And why else tie it to the mentioned flood of Noah if water's not involved? It just doesn't make any sense. Another error is that since Noah and his family didn't get wet, we don't need to either. But the type doesn't work that way. They came through water, yes, in a boat, but they came through water, just like those who are baptized come through water. So just as the water of the flood removed the sinful people from the earth, the waters of baptism remove original sin and any sin in our conscience so that we can appeal to God for a clean conscience. It's the faith that's present that's the reason for the cleansing, not the removing of outside dirt like the former washings under the old law would do, but the work on the inside is precipitated by the obedience on the outside in baptism. I mean, yeah, there are such a things as baptism of desire, like for somebody who's martyred before they can be baptized, or perhaps like they're nailed to a cross and they come to faith. I'll try and keep me in the middle here. But salvation is accomplished through baptism as a gateway into the new covenant. And the normative means of salvation is water baptism. For the Bible, even though everything doesn't have to be in the Bible, but the Bible says baptism saves you. What do you think? Are there arguments you've had where you trying to prove that the Bible saying that baptism saves you doesn't mean that baptism saves you? I'd like to hear those. So, again, feel free to respond and give it some thought. We'll see you next time.